Hello, heathens.
Heathens, we are going to talk about heathenistical things.
Yes. Yes.
The words that are coming out of my mouth are maybe English.
Maybe. It's still a little undecided.
It is a little undecided.
Uh,
What are we talking about today, Cassie?
Money and abundance and things that people don't want to look at because money is a hard topic, but we're talking about it.
Ooh.
Strap
Yeah,
yourselves in. Let's go.
strap it in.
Strap it in.
This could be a trigger warning. And remember to do your own research. And I invite you to anything that triggers you is to look deeper at it and do some research on that entire feeling.
I concur.
I concur.
I concur. Okay, I wanted to start this out by saying that when speaking of money, think of it as a concept of wealth, not so much as the dollar bill and the coin. Because I feel like when we talk about wealth, when we talk about abundance, when we talk about money, you think about it so physically, and we're not thinking about the 3D aspect of it.
Right. And I agree with that. And I think there's a lot of stuff that we've been pre-programmed by our parents, by society, by stuff like that, that we don't even see is influencing us.
For those of us. Oh my freaking God. Okay, for those of you
You
listening
love it.
and not watching, I really strongly suggest jumping on our YouTube for a minute just to see how this goes. Nicole's microphone is wedged in her bosom.
Well, they got to be good for something, right?
I mean, I will say, a side note right at the beginning, God, we can't. Yeah, welcome to the fucking Heathens for the People podcast.
We're
Okay. Um,
heathens. You make
you know,
my eyes water.
I never thought about our boobs really holding things until I went to Renaissance Festival with you, and they have the little cooler boob thing. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
little cup that you put ice in, you put it in between your bosom,
Like this,
like
just like
like
this.
the microphone that she has between her bosom, and it helps cool you down. And I never thought about it, and I thought it was so cool. But yeah, I find that's just sorry. Side note, that was really fucking funny. Really funny.
You like it.
I like it. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you're doing that.
It's just so close to my face, and I like it. And I don't have it's hands free.
Yeah, it's hands free. Plus, you sound great. So
See, there we go. That's what I wanted. And I'm
it's
tired
like,
of like bending over all the time.
yeah,
What I need is one of those stick things, but we're heathens, so this is what happens.
we just need a sound man
Agreed.
that will pay us to do that because it's kind of like torture. They have to stand there and hold the microphone the whole time.
No, they'll just want to do it.
Yeah, but they're going to pay us to do it. Speaking
Oh,
of money.
absolutely. Oh, right. Like Doms. We're
Yeah,
Doms. Yeah,
exactly.
I like that.
I would love to be a part of that. Seems like a pretty easy job. I could do it. Okay, back to
Okay,
brass
back.
tacks here.
Brack.
Brass
Brack.
tacks.
Brack. Okay.
Brack tack.
Oh my.
Um, the reason we wanted to talk to you about money, you guys, is because we see it all the time. The
We
relationship with
live it
money.
all the time, even.
Yeah, as well as we are in it too. I think it's just a different relationship at this point. We want to talk about the relationship with money. We wanted to talk about the relationship with wealth, with abundance, all the things that go along with it, because it's hard, especially in the spiritual community. It is really hard to be somebody that has a good relationship with money or is working on their relationship with money and wealth. And there's a lot of insecurities around wealth. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot of everything, right? That goes along with it.
Hmm.
And it's hard to tell somebody that they should look at that and they don't want to because it's hard.
Well, and I think too is like we are taught, especially with Christianity, and I'm unaware of like some of the other religions about their pursuit of money. Um, but I feel like the overall um that you can't be spiritual and have money.
Right.
Like those two don't go together. Like we see, and I think it's very well perceived in like those uh evangelicals that do the big ceremonies or the preaching in the big
Mm-hmm.
arenas and stuff. Like I assume that they have immense, big houses and nice cars and all that stuff. And I know a lot of us will talk bad about them because of this pursuit of wealth that they have.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, and I believe money can be a spiritual frontier. I think it's
well, I can't sit here for 8 hours and contemplate God or the meaning of life if I'm worried about where my meal is coming from, how am I going to pay my heating bill? When is the roof over my head? Like, if I'm worried about those things, I can't sit comfortably and ponder these things, right?
right, exactly. Like it, you know, most spiritual people don't think about money in the spiritual realm, and we throw spiritual cliches at money problems, which leads to bypassing
Mm-hmm.
because we're not looking at
Absolutely.
that relationship and we're not willing to work on a shift about it. Like that offers us forgiveness, and we look at all of the wrongs in our lives and we blame it on the money situations and blame it on not being worthy, and we do all these things to ourselves that we are so unaware of, because looking at money issues, we'd rather blame it on the something that's out there in the world to get us, quote unquote,
Well, we
than
can be a victim then, right?
right our own issues. Yeah, we're not looking at our own
Mm-hmm.
issues within it.
I thought it was very interesting when I was researching this, to talk about so we integrate our shadow self so that we are a whole being and that we're, actively not hurting people that we don't know about. And we take our dark sides and we're worthy enough to mingle those together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but we don't do the same for money. So if money is a spirit, a life force, an entity of its own, and it has a light and a dark side, right? Like we see the wonderful things that it can do, and then we also see what it can do, the corruption, you know, the
Greed.
scruple, greed, the immoral stuff of that it can produce, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get super scared about those parts, but we don't integrate those parts into money so it's a whole being.
Right.
And I really think I employ people to look at that dark side and integrate it. Because the thing is that you have a strong will. And if you are aware of these things about money, so when you start receiving money and gaining this wealth, you can be very mindful about these things that can happen.
Right. Yeah, when you start looking at these things, you start looking at deeper issues. Like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the deep issues that come around money are lack mentality,
Mm-hmm.
which can really affect every single part of your life, including your business, your job, your family, love life, all of that. The shamefulness that comes around having money, because we believe that wealthy people are bad people, right? Every person that
Mm-hmm.
has wealth is bad, right? We have a lot of blame on ourselves around debt that we get into, whereas that stagnancy where we become complacent and we sit in it
Mm-hmm.
and we don't do anything about it. And then there's the fear of change. There's a fear of, like, I feel like one that always makes me realize the fear about money is when people win the lottery and they cover their entire being because they don't want one thing to show who they are, because the fear of like everything that comes with winning that a kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
That one really like always puts me in like, wow, it's so scary to win the lotto. And then I'm like, wait, why? Because you
Right.
get that thought and you question it, and it's some people don't, but like, have you guys ever thought about that? Like the fear behind having a decent amount of money to feeling wealthy?
It's interesting because I don't think I ever. I mean, I think I know I have that in me,
Yeah.
right? That fear of success, that fear of like doing well, that fear of having what I want or what,
Hmm.
and I agree with that. And it's interesting because I've never thought about the fear aspect of it.
I feel like I have, it's one of those things where it's like, duh, yes, I have thought about it because like I said, the lotto makes me very hyper aware of it. Or like
Hmm.
another thing that makes me aware of it is the thought behind in like relationships and stuff when you get on like apps or things that are supposed to help you like with your relationships. One of the questions is like, I see this so often is, um, what if you got an offer today? Okay, you were going to make all the money you could ever need in the world. You could live the life of luxury. But you would have to move and you would have to start over. Would you do it? And it's like that right there is another fear behind money. It's like all these things that we're like, what I want to say, almost conditioned to believe about behind the fears of money. Cause like also with that's going to come life changing. You might have to leave friends or family. You might have to start in a new place and that's scary. All these things. So you don't do it. And you're like, well, that is what I actually wanted, but here I'm going to stay here. So it's like all these things that make you really, when you start like looking down at it, you're like, damn, there is a huge fear behind money.
Yeah. Because then you would have to be accountable.
Yep.
You would need to like perform and show up. And I
Hmm.
think that's a lot of fear of that, right? Like we get very comfortable at we get very comfortable at complaining in general, right? Like I'd much rather complain about something. I'm gonna do it anyway, right? I'm gonna, whatever it is, I'm gonna do it anyway, but I'm gonna complain about it before I do it. Oh God, I gotta do this.
Right. And then what goes along with that fear is shame. Because why shame and like the feeling of not feeling worthy, the worthiness
Mm-hmm.
aspect of it too, because you're like, well, why me? Why do I get to experience that and this person that I love and care about doesn't?
Right, right.
But that's
And
all of these mindsets behind this.
well, that's also because we've been taught that, like, if I succeed and you don't, I get to feel bad about it because, if I don't, I'm a bad person too, right?
Hmm.
Like, we're also struggling with this whole being a good fucking person all the time, right? Like,
All the fucking
oh,
time.
it's
It
exhausting,
is
really.
so
And not that
exhausting.
I don't want to be evil. Like, I don't want to be mean and like unkind and compassionate to people. I don't, but like being a good person, like what society, and especially I feel like at this point, it's really come up really strong since like 2020 and the world changed and all that. But like, every day, the crushing pressure of like being a good, decent person um, and me being a natural people pleaser, it is so hard for me to please everybody at the same time.
Including yourself, because you know what gets left in that? Yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I know we have listeners that are feeling that so heavy, so
It's so
heavy.
hard, right?
Yeah.
Like it's unrealistic, really.
It's like easy to be compassionate, right? And it's easy to have
Hmm.
understanding, but it's really hard to take on other people's shit when you have your own shit to be worrying about.
Right. But if I take on your shit, I don't have to deal with my shit then.
That's also true. Let's just bypass the whole fucking thing. Fuck it. Let's just
Fuck
bypass the whole fucking thing. You know what? My problems don't matter. Let's
it.
only focus on yours because mine, I can fix yours. Yours problems are yours. That's why I can fix them.
Right, right. Same. Same. We'll just trade. We'll trade. We'll just do it to each other and then it'll be fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Well, heh. I might choose another person to fix. Your problems seem to be very similar to mine, and so it's too close to home for comfort. So let's
Too
fix
close, too close.
too close.
Um, so that's the thing is like I think when you're looking at money, you're looking at obtaining wealth, is look at both the dark side and the good side. And I would write down the list of positives and negatives and really go in deep and meditate on each one of these things that come up in your life and you want to transmute these energies. And that's what it basically is that, we have to accept both the light and the dark of it so we can transmute that energy and make it different, make it more
Hmm.
work for ourselves. Money wants to be loved and appreciated, right? Just like anybody. There's a life force, there's an energy behind it. And we're treating it like the bad stepchild or the bad stepdad that, we don't want but we need. I don't know if that
We're
works.
treating it with this saying in mind that literally kills both of us of money is the root of all evil.
Right,
Bruh.
which is funny because the actual saying is the love of money is the root of all evil.
And I found something. Where is this at? Oh, sorry. I have like 1 million notes, of course. So,
Of course you do. Why would you not have?
um, I saw this thing that made me think about it differently too. And it was basically that, where are you at? Where are you at? Okay. This person had this article that was talking about money and it being spiritual, obviously. Um, anyways,
What? It
they were
is?
saying that start thinking about money as like representing a token of participation in the economy and also to help motivate you and reward you for the things that you're doing in life. Start looking
Mm-hmm.
at it as a way that the universe can motivate you for change.
It's like a little gold star.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's a
Mm-hmm.
that feeling of wealth, that feeling of abundance that you get, it's a little gold star. Or it can be a token of change where it's like, hey, maybe we need to start doing this because this is going to
Mm-hmm.
come up in the future. So the universe is like, hey, this needs to be done. Or like maybe it's a motivation for change. I saw another one that made me that goes along with this. And I thought this was really, actually really cool. So in this article, it said that so if you're struggling with like your love life and maybe settling for people who don't appreciate you, the universe could also send money to remind you of your worth in love as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the mindset that we have behind it and looking at what's going on in our life. If we find a dollar in the and on the ground, that's probably a little token again for change of like what were you just stressing about when it comes to money?
Right. And then here it just shows up willy-nilly. Like,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. But it's that easy too. But we make it so fucking complicated. And I think it's by design as well. Like I think that um, if we're not thinking for ourselves and we're just going with the flow of uh societal river. I don't know if that made sense. We're going down, societal brick road. And, there's rules to that they want us to do. They want us to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. So when you start thinking about yourself or thinking for yourself, um, you start seeing these things that like, well, at least I did. I started seeing, like, especially like commercials, like everybody wants my fucking money, right? When you go in the store, everything's like, buy me, buy me, buy me. And it's like, oh God. Like it's so much when you go into the store and you start feeling these like how they're using um marketing to subconsciously make you do what they want you to do.
Well, that's like ads and stuff too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many times I hear like Instagram's got me in a chokehold because of that? And I'm like, yeah, dude, do what makes you happy. I mean, I'm not gonna judge you for doing it, but at the same time, it's like, is that what you want to do?
Right.
Is that aligning with what you want to do? Because this goes along with what you're saying too, is we have to start becoming aware and aligned to our own personal truths when making a living and creating
Mm-hmm.
the right livelihood so that we have the capacity to sustain it and thrive in our lives and like do things that are fulfilling and match what we want to do in life.
Well, and whether they like it or not, they do want it because that chokehold, you walked right into it.
True.
Right? You're making choices, whether they're conscious or unconscious. That's a whole different topic.
Yeah, and that's like why I said this goes really right along with it is like
Yeah.
you guys gotta be more aware and become more aligned with what we really want in life, dog.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
It is because sometimes like there's stuff, especially when you get to like a certain level, I feel like the gaslighting is like a on another level. Like you're
Dog.
like, oh, it's easy to see this and this and this, but like even looking through a couple of YouTubes on the spirit of money and how people do that, you start being aware of like, oh shit, yep, I didn't even see that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even have thought about that.
Yeah,
And it's
dude.
just a tape that's playing along in my life. Like,
It's a cycle, dog.
right, right.
Fucking cycles.
Cycles, Jesus Christ.
Can I add a weird roadblock in here really quick? Have you guys ever thought about how weird eyebrows are?
Mm.
You know,
Mine are
you do.
extra long today. Look at
Yeah,
that.
man. Eyebrows are really, they say it's the expression of the face. And sorry to throw this little weird roadblock in, but also you're welcome. Eyebrows are freaking weird, man. They're really weird. Like sometimes they just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, why did we need them?
Well, because we look like a demon if we don't have them.
But what if we all just like, what if we were made without eyebrows and then somebody one day just started drawing eyebrows on? Think about how like that would be so weird. We'd be so used to not seeing everybody without eyebrows, and all of a sudden somebody is just very expressive and moving their eyebrows all over and like the one up, one down thing. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
ADHD on 100 today.
Um,
Squirrel.
so that made me think of like if we had hair all over our bodies and then we evolved to not having hair anymore, but yet we have hair on our eyebrows, like why? Just on
What?
our eyebrows.
Yeah, like why?
Because it's a purpose. And I'm sure the purpose wasn't because I wanted to fill them in.
Every single day. Every day.
Although that being said, I don't want to get tattooed because I changed my eyebrows way too much.
Eyebrows are annoying. Sorry to throw the little, like I said, roadblock, but we could circle back. I kept looking and I was like looking between yours and mine, and I'm like, eyebrows are so annoying.
Some days I have good eyebrow days. Sometimes they don't even look like the same.
No,
That,
we're not
that's why I have to
sisters,
have
we're not
that's
twins, we are distant cousins.
we are neighbors at best.
We are neighbors that barely ever talk. We've waved to each other one time.
Hi, neighbor. Okay, let's talk about money. Do we
Okay.
not want to talk about money?
No, I like talking about money. This felt really good to talk about today. You know, there's this saying that Nicole talks about often that I wanted to bring up with her because, like, God, this really kills me about the spiritual community, dude. Is like, how can you expect to help others when you yourself need help? Think about that for a
Yeah.
second. Let that sink in, you guys. How, when you are constantly in this lack mentality, you're freaking out about money. How can you at all get into a space where you can help others if you can't even get into a space that can help yourself?
Right, because we're supposed to, and this is where again this whole fucked up like thing about the way I'm supposed to be a good person is to help other people. That's what makes me humble. That's what makes me spiritual. That's the morality of it, I guess. But then the funny thing is that you say on the flip side of the coin, you have to fill your own cup before you can pour into others.
Mm-hmm.
But we forget that part because A, we don't want to look at ourselves. B, we think, the gaslighting of it is that if I'm being selfish, um, I'm not helping others, I'm not being part of the community. Like it's exhausting sometimes, realistically.
Realistic. Yeah, exactly.
But
And
it's
like,
because I'm not filling my own cup first.
and for the people that are like, ugh, I just
Ugh.
want you to think about this too, really quick. Money's been here, and as far as we know, money's not going anywhere. So, like, why keep
Right.
fighting it, man, your whole life and struggling your whole life about it? Why do
It's
you do
like
this to
air.
yourself?
Right. It's like air.
Yeah,
You need it in this 3D world unless you're willing to like live off grid and which is also a noble task. Like I get it
I'm
because working
jealous.
for yourself, right? Working for yourself is the most independent that you could ever be.
Mm-hmm.
But until I make that switch, this is the thing, this is the world I'm living in. I need to give my life force for currency.
Yeah. And like, why not? Why wouldn't you want to be its friend, man? Like, money's not bad. Money's not a bad thing. And yes, greed and the intentions behind it can be bad. People. It's about people and their own intentions and what they got going on in their life. It's not about the tool or the energy of it. Like,
Mm-mm.
we think about it in the spiritual community when somebody is paying you for a service, okay, like a psychic reading, a tarot reading, house cleansing, whatever it may be, Reiki, there's like 1 million things you could get done in the spiritual community, right? They're buying a book that you found for them, like things like that. Think about it as an energy exchange. That's their
Mm-hmm.
way of saying thank you. And that is their energy that they've worked hard for that they're now giving to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's an energy exchange.
Absolutely. So you receive and then you give.
Mhm. I feel like creating a healthier relationship with money can lead to like this feeling of wholeness and peace of mind.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely. I think the twisted thing about it is that, we have to change that mindset and really find our way to this noble pursuit instead of it being corruption and um, greedy and whatever others. Like, you have to find your way through that forest. You have to accept the greed. You have to accept all the things that money has done bad and all the unscrupulous things that people have done in the pursuit of money. And we've
Mm-hmm.
all seen the crimes and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have to accept and walk through that forest to go out on the other side because you have to understand the whole thing. It's just like accepting every little bit about you that is shadowy and that you don't like. And what we've been told is bad or wrong. And we're trying to integrate all of our pieces into ourselves. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day about our little demons that we have inside of us, right? Like these little like things that we don't like about ourselves. Like, what if I was greedy? What if I really am greedy and I really want this money? But like, I almost feel like it's like if you do it in the analogy of soup, that ingredient is almost like a hard rock or like too concentrated. So like if I eat the soup and all the pepper is in this little like ball and I go to eat it, it's like, oh my God, it's so much. And that I feel like is a representative like an aspect of myself that I don't like. So if we're using greed, it's so like the money love of money has gotten so concentrated that it's too much and it makes my mouth, it's just bad. So what I've started doing is bringing these aspects like my overthinker, my critical person that always talks to me. I say thank you to him. And then I think about my soul or my life force and I try to like integrate that critic inside because I need that critic. I just don't need him to be so potent. I need him to like
Don't need to be
integrate into the
so
whole
critical.
thing. Oh, right, right, right. Like I need him. I need him, right? But I don't need him to be so loud.
Well, and with like the whole greed thing, you got to think about like, do you want that money in a way that goes against your beliefs or your values or your morals? Is that why you want it? You want it for something that's, you know, other than the good for you and your family? Because I mean,
Hmm.
if so, then yeah, it's probably going to be really hard to get to.
Well, I think I feel like and maybe you've seen this too, because of the aspects that we've went through together. Um, is it because I thought about this too when we moved from one salon to the other? I felt like is are all business people kind of corrupt? Right. And I don't want to say that like as a blanket, and I don't mean it like that, but it's a thought that I'm thinking through, right?
Hmm.
So does successful business mean corrupt? Because like I've seen a lot of people that make money and have people underneath them do questionable things. And it's not just one,
No.
right? And I've even talked to some business people too to see what they had said about it. And, even they were like, yeah, that's kind of how it is. And I was like, okay, okay. So if that's how it is, it makes it a little easier for me to formulate what I need to do because I have a very fantasy way of looking at the world, right? Like very, very rose colored glasses kind of person. And if I know that that's how it's supposed to be and I'm not just making it up or being a victim to it, then I can use that in my formula of my pursuit of money.
Yeah.
So, like, dealing with our landlord, like, if I think he wants to be a better person and I think that I'm trying to help him or fix him, then, and I'm wasting this energy on him, thinking that I'm being a good person or thinking that I'm going to fix him, then I come to a point where none of that, that's not how it is. So then that's not the pursuit I want to pursue. So now I have to step back and refocus on my game plan and then move forward like that. Those pieces, as hard as they are to look at and accept, they're so good for the pursuit of going forward. Because if you understand it and you don't cause it bad or good, that's just the way it is.
Hmm.
Okay. Then I can go forward and make the right decisions for myself and not wonder if I'm being bad or good because that's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah. I agree with that.
What else did you find out?
Um, just a few more pointers. Like one thing that was really hard for me to really align myself with, but I think it's very important is knowing that the universe will always provide. And it's a lot harder to do and gain trust for, especially right off rip than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just sometimes I think, and this is not to call anybody out or make you feel bad about yourselves because I was like this. So I guess I'll talk about myself. At one point, I just didn't think that there was an unlimited supply of abundance that could also hit me. And the universe has an unlimited supply of abundance. And it's like finding money on the ground when you need it the most, and then having that feeling of relief and gratitude and keeping that feeling going. Like trying to align yourselves with that abundance without limitations is really hard. And I've talked
Mm-hmm.
about this saying before, but what really started helping me was I'm lucky and everything works out for me. It
Right.
really changed my mindset, that
Mm-hmm.
hard and driven mindset of like, well, I'm not doing this to make this happen. And it's like, I'm not trusting the universe and I'm not giving it a chance to show me how good it can get and how easy it can get and like how much it can really do for me because I have this like roadblock in my head. And that
Mm-hmm.
that saying really helped. And so I really wanted to put that out there too, is that we just gaining that trust in the universe and knowing that will always provide for you in the way that it's needed in the moment, whether we can
Well,
see it or not, is
absolutely. And this is the
hard.
thing is you really got to start. It's hard at first, but like when you start noticing it and having it, like I need validation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you start asking for it and you're not following up with those signs, or you're always asking for the validation and you're not receiving what the universe is giving to you. So you're always asking for
Yeah.
validation.
Mm-hmm.
So then you go into the cycle of like always asking and never going forward out of that cycle of validation. You have to be very aware of like what's going on around you and how it's showing up instead of being attached to the way you think it's going to show up. And that's the big
Yes.
difference because you
Yeah.
are attached to an outcome.
Yep.
So then you're not seeing all of the other stuff because you're expecting it to be purple, right? And it's like, no, I'm actually over here and I'm green. Like,
I'm gonna
just
pull
like in
this.
Santa Monica, like I asked for magic to happen and the universe showed up for me though.
Hmm.
You know, that person that was there that say that like was my savior, was my knight in shining armor, was my comfort in a time of chaos. It showed up.
Hmm.
So now I hold that in my heart because I know it's going to show up no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it's these little things that it's very sciency experiment wise. You know, you put an experiment out there and then you wait and then you're like, okay, so note to self, and this is what I experienced. Then you do it again. So that way you can validate the last one that you had and then you can like go forward with faith because it showed up twice, you know, like
Hmm.
it did it once, it did it twice. Now I can move forward because I know it's going to have my back no
Right.
matter what, right?
Right. And what goes along with this too is like you guys this year, we've talked about how it's a big interpersonal year. We're doing a lot of shadow work type stuff. We're talking about it and hopefully starting to build the steps for you guys to like continue to keep building your own steps and working through this
Mhm.
stuff. And like some things that go along with this is you are valuable and you are deserving of wealth because us existing, just existing makes us worthy. And
Absolutely.
we just need to love and accept ourselves more. And that alone, when you start doing all that shadow work, you start feeling better about yourself, you start really aligning yourself with your soul, it's going
Mhm.
to change because if you're doing things that don't resonate with your true self, then it's going to be hard to get into the same, we say this a lot, but it's like the same energetic flow as money, right? Like you're holding yourself down from it, you're pulling yourself back, and you're actually hurting yourself more than anything, and more than
Mhm.
just a wealth aspect. But yeah, it's us existing, just existing makes us worthy.
Absolutely. Well, and not enough people believe that.
Yeah.
So I implore you to go on that journey of finding your worth. And I struggle with it still to this day.
Well, yeah, dude,
It's
imposter
getting
syndrome's big
better.
as hell.
Yeah, right,
She's a
right.
bitch and she lives right behind her backs at all
She
times, ready to
all the
strike.
time. Like they're gonna find out that you don't know anything. They're gonna find out that you're an imposter. Like, you know, like um,
You
especially
think
like
you
doing
run a
magic.
podcast?
Well, yeah, who do
You
you
don't run
think
a
you are?
podcast.
You don't know shit. Like
People aren't gonna fucking listen to you idiots. I told you she's a bitch.
she is a bitch. She's
She's a
bad.
bitch. She's bad.
But we need to integrate her into our life, right?
Well, if we really truly think about it, it's part of us that have been hurt. We've been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We've been hurt by something,
Well, she's
somewhere,
keeping us
sometime.
safe.
Yeah,
If she keeps us small, she keeps us safe. We don't fail. We don't put ourselves out there. We can't be attacked.
true.
So then we are safe. And um it doesn't it doesn't fulfill us that way though. It makes us stagnant. It makes us not grow. And we are meant to be here to grow and evolve. That's what we do
Yeah,
is we evolve. You're evolving right now. Like
I can feel it. I can feel it now, Mr. Krabs.
I can feel it.
Um, I only had two more things that they're all going right in line with this, but Nicole and I have say this very often, especially on the pod, but align yourself with gratitude too. Remember to take a moment to be thankful. It really is important because it's like taking that moment to be grateful, you can make a big difference in your energy. It starts getting you out of the victim mentality. It starts getting you out of the woe is me and my life's so hard and I'm never going to get the things I want and blah, 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 and all the stupid shit we say to ourselves that we don't deserve. It gets you out of that. Because for a minute, you're just being grateful for the wealth you have in the moment you have it and like feeling
Absolutely.
that feeling.
Absolutely. I thank every bill I have. I think the money to be there. I think money now. I thank money for just being there so I can pay this bill.
Mm-hmm.
I thank money for being easy. I thank money for being there and supporting me and being on my team. I started to think of it being on my team too. Like if I have a team of people in me that's going to help me go through this life, I started thanking them for being on my team and working with me. And
Mm-hmm.
anything that stands outside of me and is really screaming loud, I try to look at it, integrate it, and really see what it's saying, that behind speech of it. So if it's being extra critical to me, then like, okay, so why? And thank you for showing me yourself and thank you for making me aware of this. Um, because that's all it needs. It needs that acknowledgement.
Yeah,
You know, this is a
absolutely.
part of you that needs to be visited.
Hell yeah, dude.
Um, there's nothing wrong with doing magic or spells for money. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
Oh,
The last thing I was gonna say before we moved into, because I have some magic-y stuff too, of course.
ye.
Is there's this concept that once you start receiving and you've been in this lack mentality of holding on too tightly, and I think it's very important to keep that flow. And as you
Mm-hmm.
receive, give. And that doesn't necessarily mean in the way of a physical dollar. Because remember, I said at the beginning, we're talking about wealth too, outside of just the physical dollar. You
Mm-hmm.
could be giving, think about it like we've said. How can you fill others' cups when you can't fill your own? Once you start having that time and your cup's overflowing, you can start giving more energetically as well. You can start giving more
Mm-hmm.
of your time. You can start giving more of your knowledge. You can start giving to help others. And if it is in the way of physical dollar, be thankful that you can give in that way as well.
Absolutely.
You hold on to something too tightly, dog, it runs away.
Well, you squeeze the flow, right? Like you
Right.
stop it. Like anything. Like I can't squeeze you too hard.
No.
You would hurt.
It's fragile.
It's fragile. You got to let it flow through.
Yeah.
And money is not supposed to be stagnant. It needs to flow. It needs to run through. Like you're not supposed to necessarily hold on to it. You're not,
If you
unless you're a
read
dragon, I guess.
For my people that are visual and love to think about shit like this, think about it like you think that you're the only one that's touched that damn dollar because some people wash their money, okay? Like you're not. So like think about the energy that all this like these little tools contain.
Oh my God, that makes me want to cleanse all my dollars now.
Yeah, and people have been doing it in bathtubs and stuff.
Cleansing it?
Yeah, it might be strippers, but I don't know.
Oh,
It's been
okay.
on my For You page and TikTok, and it's a little unhinged over here, so I'm not really sure who's doing it. So, but I've seen it done. People do
No,
it
I'm sure.
in the
I'm sure
bathtub, and then they'll dry it in the dryer.
it makes sense to me, but like I was just like, wait, who's whew.
People be out here cleansing
It
their
makes more
dollars.
sense. It makes more sense. It just makes more
Yeah.
sense. There's nothing wrong with doing spells for money. Like I said, there's nothing if God is in everything, then God is in money as well. So don't think it's less sacred or less holy just because the pursuit of money. It it's all about how you look at it and use it. If you are thinking bad thoughts, if you're doing things that go against your judgment of being moral, and if and this isn't looking at anybody else, right? This is literally looking about how you are having this relationship with money. You can't hide how you feel about money to money. Like you can't get one over on it. Like when you're dealing with the spiritual world, they see all of it. You can't hide it. So really look at how you are feeling and either transmute it if it's scared or afraid. Try
Mhm.
to transmute that energy into something that's more beneficial for it. Um, there is a light and dark side with money, like everything. It wants to be loved and appreciated. You need to integrate the shadow side of it. Um, I would do also, there's nothing wrong with having just an altar for money. If you're working with it on a constant basis. Or you could like set up an altar for money, but take it down if you like you needed a roof or something, if you needed something that was big, so you could set up an altar just for the roof or whatever thing that you needed to help you along, if you needed like a medical surgery or something like that,
Mhm.
so you could set up the altar just specifically for those things. um
I added that really quick.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because I also like for my deity workers and altar workers, there are some
Yes.
deities and some mythical creatures that I wanted to really quick touch on too that you could add as well. Like Fortuna, aka Lady Luck. She's a Roman goddess of luck, man. She brought good
Hmm.
luck, but sometimes bad luck, depending on the individual in the situation, because even bad luck could be a good thing because it might not be in your best interest. So, like, her emblem is literally the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a great one.
Joan the Wad is the money spirit of the Fae variety, and she's found in Cornwall and is the queen of the pixies. And I love this one because while most fays are tricksters, Joan the Wad leads the worthy to good fortune and happiness. She's
Ooh.
associated with fire and water, and it's like really easy to honor her. It's water. She enjoys flowers, sweet offerings like cakes and cookies. And then the only other two that I loved is maybe you're not so much looking at just money specifically, right? You're looking at abundance and all this. Ganesh, Lord Ganesh is
Yeah.
of the Hindu religion, remover of obstacles. Enough
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And then my for my heathens, I love this one because I had to throw in a little heathenistic being in there. Dwarves. Start working with dwarves, man. They are,
Absolutely.
yeah, creatures in the Scandinavian folklore and mythology, and they live deep in the mountains and caves and have a long-standing reputation for mining. They know where Earth's
Hmm.
treasures are. With
Hmm.
dwarves, obviously do your research because they can be a little capricious and sometimes a little bit mean,
What does
but
capricious mean?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And guess what? I
You
have it
knew.
pulled up.
I was gonna say, I know you already have this pulled up because
Yep,
you
because I was
know.
like, Nicole's going to ask me. It's given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior. So they're moody.
Okay, okay.
It's a fancy word for moody,
I like
capricious.
that. I like
Yes.
capricious.
So, like, add those to your altar, like make them a part of it. It's really easy to do. And then you could get some new benefits out of it even without it being just wealth. You might not know. So yeah, that's all
Absolutely.
I had to add to the altar part.
Okay. Let's see here. I just Okay, so remember when you're receiving money, doing money, like your job. When I want to talk about job real quick, remember you're giving your life force for money. You're trading this life force for money. So eh, realize that and I know we touched on being worthy. Look at your worth. Look at what that means. I need you to really understand and go in depths of your worthiness, because I don't feel like a lot of us understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we feel worthy at all.
Right.
And I really think we need to sit down with that in general. Like where your worth lies. What do you bring to the table? Um, and realize too that it's not just stuff that you put out in the world. It's also the people. Like if I started when I started realizing this when I would go to somebody's house and they would offer me stuff, like water. Do you want some water? Do you want some tea? Do you want coffee? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So they're being a good hostess. If I said no, I could feel the rejection of it. So then I started saying yes, because that way they felt like a good host. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just little things like that. Like you also are put in here in this world to help other people see their worth as well. So that's the giving and the receiving part of it. You have to receive too. So I'm receiving this gesture as they're giving it and they want to give it. So that way we have this exchange already, this relationship with it. Um, Remember, as women, we were always taught to only get enough. We should only ask for enough. So that way we can be on our moral high ground and superior of it. I only ask for enough because, that's right.
Barf.
Exactly. So if we can transmute that kind of energy out of just being enough and being more into this, like, it doesn't make me unmoral. Is that a word? Unmoral? Does that mean what I think it means? Not moral? Anyway,
I'm gonna accept it
okay,
however
good.
you say it. So
Judges says yes. Okay.
yes,
Um, so if you're going to, we have to go through this whole, we really have to look at our morals and who's putting them in our fucking head and
exactly.
realize if we want those as our morals and not, you need to choose your morals that you want. And the way to do this is to look at your feeling and how you're feeling when you're doing it.
Yeah, dude,
So
get more in touch with yourself.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, Especially when we talk about like billionaires and tax and stuff like that. That is at best, that is a distraction. Don't worry about that. It's not, it's just something to distract you in your pursuit of life, really.
Seriously.
Um, Go through being greedy and what that means and what that looks like for you. Go through corruption and what that means and what that looks for you. And really have an understanding of this dark side of money, because then if you have an understanding of the dark side of money, then you know when you're getting close to it and when you need to veer course or do something else and switch it around. Really looking at the dark side of things, even though they're scary, even though we're supposed to be like, ew, that's gross. You really need to have these understandings of what they look and feel like, so you know when you're being corrupt or when you're being led down that path, because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So be very careful and study these dark sides so that way you know what they look and feel like.
Well, and keep in mind too, you guys, that everybody is, it's all personal. It's all personal. My dark side of money isn't going to probably look the same as Nicole's. And that doesn't make it wrong just because we would have different ideas of what that looks like. Just keep in mind that it's all a personal relationship and this is all about you getting in touch with you.
Yeah, because what makes you corrupt and dark is not going to make me look corrupt. It's not going to be the same thing that makes me look uh
Or feel corrupt and dark.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we all are different, because we're all down here to have an experience for universe, for God. So we're all going to have these different experiences, even though they're quote unquote kind of the same. Um, Always remember that money wants to be part of your team. It wants to be valued and it wants to be loved. Um, and we really need to look at this idea of how it's not so much that we don't love money, we just really hate to be without it. And really sit with that one, because we're all very afraid to be without it. And it's the fear that drives us into our jobs. It makes us stay in a job that we hate. It it does all this stuff where we think we have to, where we're trapped. It's the only way that I can do things, because if I don't have it, I mean, you can go down the list. I'm going to be a freeloader. I'll be homeless. I'll be poor. I'll be all
You'll
these
be in
negative
lack.
things. Yes. And that really scares us and fears us into motivating to staying in a job we hate, into um, not pursuing anything else, being stagnant and feeling like there's no hope. And that's a really scary thing, right? Like, think about
Oh
even right
yeah.
now, like if I want to change my job, how am I going to do that? It's scary. Like, I know the spiritual teachings tell me to just stop my job and go pursue another one, and the universe will have me. It's the fool that jumps off the cliff with all the faith. I understand that concept, but I am also very, very afraid of doing that.
Mhm.
Um, Also, a lot of people tell me to be around people if you want money, to surround your people with money. And because energetically, we are the made up of the five people we spend the most time with. So if you're spending time with people with a lack mindset, then you integrate those feelings, that energy into you. So then the flip side is if you're around people that are very satisfied with their money,
Their wealth.
uh, their with their wealth, there I was like money issues, but like I don't mean it like issues. But anyway, I was like,
Yeah.
wait, my brain stopped. Um, you will start to. It's not about getting the knowledge or the, and that does help when people are telling you like, oh, invest in this and do that, blah blah blah. Um, but it's the mindset. Watch the words that they say when they're talking about money. That's what's the main thing. If your words are spells, be very careful of what you're saying because this will produce. This will, like if you leave rotten food on your money altar, you're manifesting that. So look at what you're saying when you say it and stop yourself. You're going to have to find new words to say what you're trying to say. And that's really what you need to do.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
That has never been truer right there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so remember to we're going to try and trust money. Wait, where did I put this? There's something I want to say and I can't remember. I guess I'll just go with it because, oh, here it is. Here it is. It's in my brain right now. So, um, give thanks and forgiveness to give thanks to money, but also forgive yourself for not, um, oh, you're giving me this, but I can't find where I put it down. Oh, write a letter to money and thank it for every penny that has ever been spent on you. Thank it for the roof over your head since you were born. Thank you for the food that has provided yourself since you were born. Thank it for everything that it has done. Um, every penny that's been spent on you, every dollar that's been spent on you, all the clothes on your back, all of that stuff. Also, ask it for forgiveness for every time that you have like judged it harshly or pushed it away for whatever reason. Ask it for forgiveness for anything that you've thought bad about it, anytime that you have done any kind of well, I can't
Shitting.
have that or whatever, right? Like f- write this sincere letter to it and really ask for forgiveness for what we have been programmed to think about it. Like money doesn't grow on trees. Like the lack aspect. Like I'm going to be greedy and corrupt if I have it. That, you know, that's like saying if I have you in my life, that you're toxic for me.
It's shitting where you
Right?
eat, man.
Yeah. And that's not helpful.
Why would you
Right?
do that?
Well, because that's what we're taught, right? Like we
Everybody
do
else
it.
is doing it, so why wouldn't I do it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you want to fit in. I mean, that's what we all want. We don't want to be alone. We don't want to be unloved.
Right.
So you do this because everybody else is doing
Mm-hmm.
it. um, Thank it for look at all the dark stuff that it does and thank it for the wisdom of it and the understanding and accept the whole thing. I did my personal I have been working with Earth for quite a while and um I did money magic not too long ago, and it was that we were working on sigils. So, and a sigil is where you take a small statement and then you work it into a artistic form. Like this would be an example of a sigil that I made. This isn't my money sigil, but this is a sigil. So this statement is to help me complete the great work. So this is the sigil that I have right now for completing the great work. So um that was the statement, that was the art that came from it, what I created from it. And you want that abstract wavelet because symbols talk to our subconscious. So what I did was I looked for a statement where I needed money to always be there for me. So I said I wanted all my accounts to be in well working order. And I wrote it down in words that made sense to me. And then what you do, and there's plenty of TikToks on this, but you can take there are different ways of doing the sigil too. So if you research sigils, look at something that really resonates with you and what you would find really beautiful. And that's really where you want to follow your breadcrumbs. So you take the statement, in my way I do it is cross out any vowels are out and any double letters. So like if I say the, then I take that T. But if T shows up anywhere else in that statement, I cross that out too. So then I step down to the next level and I write down all of the letters that I have left. Then I start creating a form or pattern that makes sense to me, uh, and start working it into an art form of some sort, or like how Prince, a symbol, like a symbol like that. So once I do that, then you charge it. Now, when you charge it, you, I always put up a magic circle. I call in the angels. You can ask them to bless it and to help you with this pursuit. If you work with a deity, you can bring the deities down and ask them to help you with this pursuit. If you do that, I would offer them some sort of gift or offering, something that they would like. Um, or you can also charge it with like sex magic, with masturbation. And that's probably the easiest one. It works just as well. Now, what I do after that is I think whatever is helping me with this, even if it's sex magic, I think the sex that I have my own primal power into it. And then usually I like to burn it depending on how I want to manifest it. There's a couple ways you can do it because you can use air, water, earth, fire. Fire is kind of what I use the most. Earth, if you bury it, it's a little more sustainable, but it's going to take longer to manifest into the world because it's got to biodegrade for it to start to like manifesting into the world. So there's, figure it out, I guess. Whatever, but fire is the best one, so you can just go with it. And then you forget about it. You don't think about it. You just let it go. And it already starts happening. Like you just So every time I open my bank account at this point, I thank it. I love it. I am so happy for it. I am so grateful for it. It is in well working order. I have not had to worry about it. It's just amazing how it works exactly like that. And it's changed everything. It's made me faithful in my magic. It's made me feel more powerful in what I'm doing. And um so now it just I don't have to worry about that so much. And now I can pursue more transformative things into like what do I want to work on next? Like overthinking, let's work on that or whatever, right? So
Mhm.
I have a book of correspondence, and when you said talked about the
Dwarves.
dwarves, we've been working with the gnomes too
Mm.
and the king. So our invocation of earth, one of the things that we do through this whole ritual, and it's such a beautiful ritual. I really am going to miss once we stop working with it. I almost got a little teary-eyed the other day. It's so funny. So one of the things that we talk about that I say to the gnomes, and I'm not sure if Damien or if I'm not sure if Damien or Derek wrote this, but it talks about the invisible king who taketh forms of foundation, does hollow to the depths of thy almighty power. Those names who shaketh the arches of the world, those causes the seven metals to flow through the veins of the rocks, the king of the seven lights, the rewarder of the subterranean workers, lead me to desirable air and into the realm of splendor. I watch, I labor unceasedly. I seek, I hope by the 12 stones of the holy city, by the buried talisman, by the axis of the lotus stone, which passes through the center of the earth. O Lord, O Lord, O Lord, have pity on those who suffer. Expand our hearts, unbridle and uprise our minds. Enlarge our nature. O stability and motion. O darkness veiled in brilliance. O day clothed in night. O Master, who does not hold the wages of thy workmen. O silverly whiteness. O golden splendor. O crown of living and harmonious diamond, those who wearest the heavens on thy finger like rings of sapphire, those who hidest beneath the earth in the kingdom of the gems, the marvelous seeds of the stars, live, reign, and be thy eternal dispenser of treasures, there has made us guardians of. Many terra Adam, let earth remain solid through Adam. Work ye gnomes as I will, and then you depart. We departed with them and say, depart in peace and into your abodes and inhabitants with blessings from Adonairetz, Lord of the earth. And that's one of the things that really made me help to connect with wealth and abundance and realize that these people, these entities work with money. That's their main goal and their main thing. That's their whole being in life. And how am I to like judge them and tell them that that's bad and wrong? That's the whole thing. So I really wanted to share that with people and say like I just hope that we move past this whole thing that it's bad and wrong and into making your life just easier. I mean, think of what you could pursue without like worrying about this one thing and let it help you live a beautiful life. There's nothing wrong with you having a beautiful life. Um, so after that, let's see here. My correspondent with money, working with the zodiac sign Gemini and Taurus. The solar system would be Jupiter, Mercury, and the sun. Moon phases would be full and waxing. Full moon in January. So that would be the best moon to work with, or if it's in Capricorn, would be really good. The days that you want to work with is Sunday, Saturday, Thursday, and Wednesday. Season is autumn. I don't know why that would be, but okay.
Probably because that's like when we harvest.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It's a
that makes
time
sense.
of
Okay.
abundance.
Right, that's good. Um, Elements you want to work with is air and earth. Numbers are 1, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Uh, Pentacles is associated, the tarot card of Pentacles. Colors are brown, copper, gold, green, orange, and silver. Um, okay, so there's a whole lot of other things in this thing that I'm really not going to go through. But this has the deities. So this book is called The Complete Book of Correspondence, and it looks like this.
Is that Llewellyn? Yep.
Yep. It's a great book for the correspondence of everything, and it's quick and easy. It took me 5 seconds to look up money and go, oh, okay, this is where I need to be, and it has everything on it. It has herbs and gardens. It has the trees that you should work with if you wanted to work with the trees, plants, gemstones, material, metals, from the sea, stuff from the sea, goddess and gods. Did you know the animal is rat? And the reptile is toad.
I would like to
um,
research into that more as to why.
yeah, yeah. So but that's what I've gotten so far, or that's what I gotten from here. And I really employ everybody to really look at this and just make their life a little bit easier. And you know what? Don't feel guilty when it starts coming in either. You're not allowed. I won't allow it. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm not sorry, but don't do
She's
it.
not.
Like it's just
It's not worth it.
no, there's no point of asking for it and then feeling bad once you get it.
Why'd you ask?
Right. So working with money, you're also going to work with your own shadows on this part and integrating it. And I wish you the best of all lucks.
And thank you for coming to Nicole's TED Talk.
This is my TED Talk.
That was funny.
Well, I really hope that people understand, and I just want them to struggle a little less, you
Yeah,
know?
man. We just want your life to get easier.
Absolutely. Because what's the point of all this stuff, all this dirt digging, if we can't make it a little easier? What's
If
the
you
point of me
can't,
standing up here doing a ritual magic every day of my life if I'm not making my life better?
yeah, I can't see how there would be one.
Mm.
Well, shit. Got it.
That's what I got on that's what I got on money.
That's what we
I
got on
re-
money. Both of
right.
us.
This was a really good one for us to talk about. Like I'm glad we changed it at the last minute.
Yeah, we did change it last minute. We had another one, but neither of us were feeling it. And
Mm-mm.
this one is a topic that we talk about pretty often with people because it's one we run into often. There's a lot of feelings behind it, you guys, and hopefully this helps you to be able to look at it easier and get a better idea of how to create a better relationship with money and wealth and abundance and all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And even if you are the people that aren't pursuing it, like you've already have it, this is a way for you to keep that relationship with the money that you have in a well working order, right?
mhm,
Like make sure that you are thanking it. Make sure that because if you already have it, don't take it for granted either. And
exactly.
like I said, don't feel bad about having it. That's not the point.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Coffee's doing me so well.
It clearly. All
Well,
right.
I'm really excited about our next one too. Our next episode, I actually can tell you guys because we're not changing it, I don't think. But our next one is on aging. Another topic I've been really waiting to talk to you guys about.
Ooh, I'm
So
excited about this.
tune in next week. We'll
Mm-hmm.
talk to you guys about aging and all the freaking things that go along with that. And
Maybe I'll have a mic stand by then instead of using my booby holder.
I mean, boobies seem to be working, so who knows?
I know, but I need a different bra because like this one's not pushing them together so they hold it tighter. It kind of is wobbly.
And
Heathen.
on that note, we shall
Heathen.
end and we will talk to
Heathen.
you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.